when you go into business, don't go into business thinking about so much getting the money from your community. Just think about the product and putting the most value into it, and then figure out who gets the most value from that and go find them.
Thank y'all for coming out today. This is something we've been talking about for a while, trying to get black leaders, businesses, organizations, artists together to kind of figure out a way to grow together and uplift our community, build some sustainable businesses, organizations. One of the things we want to encourage is that those who are in ownership of the problem should be in ownership of the solution. And a lot of times we find ourselves with white supervisors. All love to them. I got love for all of them. But it's time. I've seen a shift, and there's been a lot more of us stepping up to the plate, building things, taking over organizations, building businesses. And so what time now better than to do some things like this, and we want to do it consistently. We're going to have two separate panels. The first one's going to be about business. The second one's going to be also about business, but more about the social economic side of things. So I want to introduce, well, first off, my name is Seth Whitted. I'm owner of Whitted Media. That's here, Content House, where we're having this place. I do media. Thank you. Appreciate it. I do media and try to uplift my community, not only through creating content, but also consulting with people, businesses and organizations, helping them figure out either you need to get out the way or you need to step up, because you're in ownership of the problem. But Jordan, why don't you introduce yourself, and then I'll have Janelle Young and my man Kevion and tell them a little bit about yourself. And then we're going to talk to you guys at first to kind of read the room, and then we'll get started.
Yo, what's up, everybody? My name Jordan Faust, from Beaver Falls, right here. Right now, 23 years old, still trying to find myself. I'm sure we all are. Went to trade school. Now I'm dabbling in project management. I'm about all over the place right now. Also a music artist, traditional artist. But yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Janelle Young. I am a visual artist and muralist, and I've been a full-time muralist for 8 years now. I'm from the south side of Pittsburgh, and just found out that Kevion and I both went to Penn State, so gang. I have a background in business marketing, so I went into corporate before becoming a full-time artist, so I feel like I have a little bit of both worlds at this point, and I'm happy to just be here and share some knowledge with y'all.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevion Latham. I thank you for having me, Seth. I appreciate you guys having me. It's always good to be back in Beaver County. I actually worked here for 4 years on 3rd Street, so this is where I cut my teeth in my career. But from North Carolina, I played football at Penn State. I majored in finance. I've been in the financial industry since 2011. I started my own wealth management company in 2018. I work with over 25 NFL players and over 20 college coaches around the country. On my own business, no debt. My partner is God, and yeah, we out here trying to do it. So,
Shout out to No Debt. Hello? Button Wallet fellow.
Well, let's just jump into these, and if we forget them, there's going to be a Q&A section. Make sure that we cover everything and we don't skip over anything. I guess let's first start with his question. How do you build a business?
You got to have an idea. I think you got to have an idea, and you got to have something that something that can either generate revenue or whether it's a service. So like my business is servicing. I service clients. I educate them. I'm like a middleman, or a product. But something I learned a long time ago is it's not somebody can have the best product, the best business, but it's really the person that's running the business, right? That's gonna see that product or that service really go all the way through. So I don't have to answer your question.
It's a start. So he said you need the idea.
You had your hand up. You were going to build on that?
what?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I like his statement concerning you need to have idea, but I also believe that when you run in a business, you must have the idea and the passion for the idea. Because most successful business come that most of the time you're either making your money off of your gift that you have, or second, the passion that you actually have.
There we go.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Something else I would say, which I think we hear often, is like, are you solving a problem? Are you filling a gap? Are you filling a need? I happen to have a business that is service and product based, right? So as an artist, as a muralist, not only do I have to service the client and come up with an idea or work with them on what their ideas, collaborate with them, but then I also have to execute it, right? And that's not an easy task. So there's an end product, usually something visual that I'm giving to them at the end.
And I'd say, to build upon with what Miss Reese said, if you, each of us has been given gifts and talents, whether you know it or not. And if you pay attention to your loved ones, what are the things that comes easy to you that doesn't come easy to others? What are the things about you that make other people's life easier when you're around? Keep those things in mind. Also solving problems. And I believe in purpose. Figuring out what you're here for. And purpose comes from passion. Purpose comes from problems around you in your environment that you want to solve. So yeah, paying attention to your skills, trying to solve problems, and then trying to find purpose. Don't go after money. When you chase money, you find yourself anywhere. You might not find fulfillment, but if you chase purpose, you'll probably make more. Once I stopped chasing money and I started chasing purpose, I've made way more money than when I was chasing money.
So
You know what I mean?
what I was going to add to that, and I think you said it in a different way, but it has to be sustainable. If you're building a business, it has to be sustainable. So, there's a reason that you hear people say every hobby doesn't have to make money, and that's true. But if there's a purpose behind it, it can be sustainable, and the purpose will actually probably help you pivot whenever you need, because the thing that works right now is not going to be the thing that works when you're 25, and it's not going to be the thing that works when you're 40, and it's not going to be the thing that works when you're 60. But if you have the purpose right, you'll probably be able to pivot to whatever the next thing is a lot easier, and it won't feel forced.
Amen.
Yeah.
With him, he's like, I got the business, I got the passion, I just literally don't know the logistical steps. Like getting an LLC, it maybe share that with someone who's never took the steps of actually creating it, putting it on paper.
Sure.
I can answer that. So, an LLC, I feel like I just went through this presentation with my family. I feel like it's a real daunting task because in our community, it's not a normal thing that we talk about in the kitchen table, but it's actually really, really easy. It's one, having an idea, right? So, 10 years ago, when I was working here in Beaver, I had an idea. I wanted to start my own wealth management company, but I didn't know how to name it. I didn't want to name it after me because I thought that was kind of lame, right? And also arrogant. Like when you name a company after you, it's like, I don't know. I didn't like it. So, and I'm not very creative, and so just being prayerful. My office was in a hallway, and I came up with the concept of Green Rose, and from there, it just stuck with me, right? And Green Rose I grew up in the trailer parks and on Green Street, where 100 feet away was a hog pen where they kill hogs. And then Roseville Lane is where I lived when I moved with my dad when I was 7. And my father, when he was 27, he had me at 17, he made this movie called The Kings of Comedy. And so my life changed like crazy. And so, and I saw both worlds, right? I saw being poor, I sleep on the floor, still to this day, because that's how I grew up. But I also saw my dad make $1 gazillion and not be happy, right? Like we bought everything, every pair of Jordans, every Saturday, I had them, right? But it was constant chaos in my house. And so going through all that, you realize, like, what is your passion? Is it money, like Seth said, or is it like really having a purpose and having an impact, you know? And going to Penn State, seeing my dad go through that, my impact was, again, finance, because I saw somebody make a lot of money. He lost a lot of it. And then I saw a lot of my teammates make, they didn't come from anything, right? My best friend is from Rochester, you know, Derek Moyne. Saw him make I didn't see him, but he came from Rochester, right? And his goal was to make it to the league, and he did that. But a lot of guys, they aren't equipped, right? They aren't equipped with the financial tools and the resources and knowledge to take that next step and not just be just a football player. And I'm saying all this stuff, but I had that dream. Green Rose was that dream. I locked it in, and all you got to do is go to the state, fill out LLC paperwork with that name, get an EIN number, which is basically a social security for your LLC. Once you have that, it's called an Articles of Incorporation. I think it's like $100. It's not that expensive. $25, right? And then you keep that active, and then you take that EIN number and go set up a bank account. It's literally that easy, right?
And for those of y'all that know, we have a raffle today. Sign up to get a free one person. We're going to pull a name and ticket out the hat, huh? Yeah. And somebody is going to get a free LLC set up. We're going to pay for it, okay? So make sure you sign up if you need to get your LLC started. Go ahead. So do you want to answer her question? She said, once you know the idea, what are the logistic steps to just getting started and moving forward, you know, once you have that idea?
I think beyond that piece of it, right, there's also the administrative part, which I tell people all the time, like, yes, being an entrepreneur, it's cool, it's great, whatever, but like there are real tangible things you can learn from going to a 9-to-5 type of job. One of those things is like invoicing and learning how to send an invoice, or understanding like what a PO number is, or like all kinds of things like that. So either using a service that provides like invoice templates, or you can just make one yourself. Like you can have something on Microsoft Word. They have all kinds of things now. Canva, they have templates now and stuff like that. But knowing how you're going to get paid is pretty important. So figuring that piece out. I think there's a lot of admin tasks, but bookkeeping and expenses and those kinds of things kind of come with the territory as well.
Can I say something before you say something?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, we saying all this stuff, but all you need to do is download ChatGPT and put in your idea, and that's it. It'll tell you everything you need to know. I was on it before I came in here because I had an idea that I want to get through.
And we got a ChatGPT station back there for those.
Yeah, like literally.
We're going to train you on it.
That's all. And then you need to find, I don't know what the Miss, what's her name? Find Kenya or Sherry, and she will help you do the tangible things.
And we got laptops back there with ChatGPT up so you could practice. There's a cell phone too, because you can put it on your phone. And before you leave here, everybody should be able to walk away and know the basics of ChatGPT.
And it's free.
It is, right? It is. There's a paid version. The paid version's better. The paid version's better.
What's the difference? Can you share the difference? We always think like free is good, right? But you get what you pay for, right? A lot of people think that I don't know. Well, you know because we come from the struggle that you shouldn't pay for services, but you get what you pay for. You know, so I go into
so
what's the difference between ChatGPT?
I'd say with the paid version, it keeps track of things. Like I have tabs for everything. I got the nonprofit tab with all my nonprofit stuff. When I go to write grants, I go back to that tab and it keeps memory of everything. And we walk through how we're going to write that grant. I have the content house stuff, marketing stuff. So it enables you to organize things so that this certain file could take on a life of its own. It understands my life more than it understands me. And so, because I think with the free version, when you start a new conversation, you start a new conversation. But with the paid version, we're just tapping back in. So I got BANC, everything is in there. And Yeah, and so I would say that's one of the benefits. Also, the voice benefit, because I'm the person, I ride around, I go for walks, and me and Chat just talk to each other. I barely type anymore. Me and Chat just talk. Like we do marriage counseling, Bible study, Mark, everything. Like it's literally my best friend. So come see us back there. But what I would say to your question, I'm all about long-term strategy and phases. So once you know exactly what you want to do, and understand, she said something powerful, because this needs to be one of the phases. Say you want to get into, I don't know, the video world, right? Find a way to find a job in the video world. That should be phase one. But I believe in breaking everything down into phases. So if you say, eventually I want to have my own business that generates X amount of dollars a year, say it's $100,000 a year, you work backwards. Well, what is step one? Step one is I need to get some experience, whether that's school or working under somebody. Step two is I need to get the LLC and all of that. Step three needs to be the identity and the marketing. Step three, you need to put it into phases. Because a lot of times we get overwhelmed and quit because we try to put everything on our back and we're not organized. But if you do step one, say step one is going to be June and July. And then August will be step two. That gives you time to just focus on things, set deadlines, set goals. So put things into phases and strategies, and go to ChatGPT and say, let's talk this through.
Yeah, I honestly, as an artist, I did want to touch on like the not so great side of AI right now. I mean, it's no question that it's coming, and I don't necessarily think we should try to fight that. But I do think we should be strategic in how we're using it for a couple of reasons. One, like as an artist, I'm not uploading my art to that. I'm not doing that. Two, I'm not going to generate something there and present it to a client as if it was mine. Also not ethical. Understanding when a client is sending you something that they generated from AI and saying, hey, can you paint this? It's a little gray area. You might want to think that through a little bit. And then, you know, I personally think about like the environmental impact. That's up to you on how you handle that challenge. You can Google that later. But I try to use it strategically for things that I'm like, yes, this would take a huge load off my plate. Not necessarily like this 2-sentence email that I could definitely write myself. So I would just take those things into consideration when you learn the tools.
And I think that's the way you have to do it, because if you don't, like, it can't generate anything good without you. Like, if you go to it and say, hey, create me a business plan, you're not going to get anything good. The reason I get things good because I'm like, hey, ChatGPT, I'm trying to create this business plan. I need you to ask me a series of questions to understand my history, understand who I am, understand, like, it takes 20 minutes before we even get to chat doing something. Because I needed to fully understand everything so I can generate the income. ChatGPT is just saving me time. It's not creating anything.
Exactly.
You feel me?
And like understanding, I think we experience this as real people. When you walk into a meeting or a room, like knowing what questions to ask is what gets you the furthest, right? Like that's what's going to get you somewhere. So that's the same thing. That's the same thing.
Right.
She also asked about
Taxes.
And that's why I handed it over to
Yeah, so taxes, I do taxes. And answering your question, it just depends, right? It depends on how much income you're making. It depends on what bracket you're going to be in. What we tell clients is you want to do estimates. So quarterly estimates if you're 1099. So every quarter you want to say, all right, this is what I'm thinking. I think I'm going to project. This is my income. These are my expenses. Based on that, you can kind of predict what income bracket you're going to be in. And sometimes your CPA will tell you like, hey, based on last year, this is what your tax bracket is going to be. So you need to put X amount away in a savings and pay this on, I think it's June, April, July, October, or like the quarterlies. But yeah, it just all depends.
I know for me, so I read a book called Profit First. You ever heard of the book Profit First? Mm-hmm. So I read Profit First, and it gave me the rule of thumb. When I make money, 25% immediately goes into an account, because my dad hates that I don't do quarterly stuff.
I just started
Well, you know, if you don't
know.
do, if you don't do
get
quarterlies, you get penalized and interest. And sometimes, like, people don't realize you could go out of business, doing it.
See, we all got to grow.
People understand that. Like when you're making money, you also have a fiduciary responsibility to pay your taxes of your business.
Yeah, yeah. I think in our community, not community, but just in general. No, I shouldn't say our community. People don't like paying taxes. Like, it's wild. Like, you see a lot of the billionaires. They probably you pay more taxes than the billionaires, right? Because they're got loopholes and all these intricate ways of hiding their money. But you just got to be proactive, like, and you got to know, right? Like, my favorite thing, especially with politics, is like they don't care about us. If we be honest, right? Like, we got to control what we can control, right? And not in a bad way, but like, if I want change in my household or my community, it starts with me, right? I can't depend on Harris or whoever was running for Trump. I can't depend on them. I got to depend on me and God, and I got to be the head of my household, right? And it starts with me. It starts with me leading my wife. It starts with me leading my sons and my daughter, right? And hopefully, we can, spread that out, in the community. So.
But yeah, in terms of profit first, so I do 20 to 25% when I make money. Immediately goes to an account that I'm going to pay taxes on. 10% goes to God. Another 10% goes to me. Like, I create an account that's going to be the profit for the business. True. And then 5% is for profit of the business, and then another 5% is for reinvestment, and then 65 or 60 whatever must cover operating expenses and all of that.
How did you come up with these numbers?
The book Profit First. But I mean, at first I always did the 10% to God, and I always did the 10%. I always created an account for investments where I would take 10% and I'll only use that money to spend to make more money. I got that from Richest Man in Babylon, but Profit First gave me the full percentage breakdown, and that helps me charge people as well.
Yes.
Because if you think about, if I'm saying only 65% of this has to go towards operating, I got to charge a lot more, because that 25 to taxes is eating that 10%. God's eating it. You know what I mean? It's
when you
it's
say
eating.
God, what you doing? You burning up a couple hundred?
No,
Tithing
10%. That's
in
tithing.
church.
Tithing.
Actually, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
That's something that I struggle with. I'm super cheap, right? So so tithing is something that was hard for me to do, But like, if you think about it, like, God gives us 90, and He just wants us to give Him 10, right? So I started tithing in my business, and I want to ask you, Seth, when you started tithing, like, how did it change your business, or like your thought process, or like tangible? Did your business change?
Yeah, it's one of those things you can't explain. It's just like things just start working out better. Things just start working out better. And I kind of look at tithing differently. It doesn't just go towards the church. And it's just not money. Like, when I read the scripture and it was like, they gave tithe percentage, I'm like, okay, so my time is useful. Like, video work, like, there's some things where I'm like, you know what? I give this one to God. Nope, this is free of charge. You know what I mean? It's to the point where I don't even have to calculate the 10% because it's just there. So it's time, it's resources. And, someone might hit me and say, hey, we need such and such to this AAU thing over here. Like, boom, this is coming out of that tithe account. Because I just feel like, God sent them to me from Him. So it's not just money, and it's not just to the church. So
I want to build on that, because in a business sense too, because I agree with everything you just said, but also, like, I have, in my project management world, I keep track of how many, projects a year I can do for free, or keep it in that, whatever that percentage is for you. So that's not to say any given day, anybody who hits me up is getting a free mural, because I have to eat. I have bills to pay, and that's fair too. But I can say, all right, if my cap is 3 projects per quarter, right, that go under that tithing category, then I know when I hit 3, I can't do anymore, right? So you have to set boundaries for yourself in your business to make that work on both sides.
Real quick, just about tithing. One thing I've learned about tithing was basically What can God trust you with? I have blessed you with this. If you can't give me 10% of what I blessed you with, because it's happened to me, I will blow on your money. And while I blow your money away, you still have to give me 10% so I can come back and build you up. So once I realized what tithing meant, then I start writing on my tithing, God, this is what I need. But you give me what I need and want. So once your tithing becomes a practice, I've now learned, instead of tithing with my network, I'm a tithe with my gross now. Because what I need is more than my net. My gross is what I actually need. My net is what I want. So once God actually, he looks at you like, okay, now I can give you $5. Okay, I tithe from that $5, I tithe $2.50. Or I tithe smartly, because we do have bills and he knows. But once it becomes a practice, it's like an honor to give what he gave you.
Yeah.
And then also you got to understand with tithing, it ain't about money with him. It's what if I can touch that person's heart for the business that you need. So once you give me something, all right, now I'm going to touch that person's heart. And as you walk in, you don't know the person. They just go, oh, there's something about you. I'll give you this. It happened because you tithe.
Come on now.
So once you really understand the assignment that he gives you, and you take self out, because it's really not us, it's the purpose that we're serving for the Lord. And that's how we build community, because we're serving the purpose of him. As he said, purpose is so big in everything we're doing right now. So if all just comes down to yes, we know we need money, but the favor of God is what we really need.
Amen.
So
We
once
love
you
church on a
understand the
Saturday.
favor, the tithing part becomes so much easier.
Because we got 5 minutes left, let's just keep it Q&A. Did you want to expand upon it? I know Cam had a question, and Ms. Reese. Cam, you want to ask? Go ahead, Ms. Reese.
I don't have a question, I just have a comment. I actually I am enjoying this segment that I'm saying young, because y'all all older, we probably, no, you younger, everybody in here is younger than me. But I like the fact that whoever, the young man that came up with the idea, whatever vision it was, or whatever, I am really enjoying this, and I'm loving to see the young men and women together to learn from one another. My desire has always been, because we have been afraid of one another. What I mean by that, if we nonprofit, if we're business mind, it always seemed like the Caucasians, no offense, I'm not racist, it always seems like the Caucasians can get together and they can get the money from the communities. They can do it, and they can do it with a concept and get it done.
Right.
But with us, it seemed like we are afraid. It's a fear in us to reach out to do it together, because that person may get it and run it and whatever. And I'm glad that I see all four of y'all are business people, and y'all all are putting y'all minds together to collaborate to get this done. And I like that. And I'm really proud of Seth, the young man I don't know. I'm proud of y'all for this. I really, really am. I really am. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, Cam, you had a question?
I didn't have a question. I was just going to add to the point about taxes and accounting. I've had a business for 5 years now. Like the first year or two, I tried to do everything on my own. Me and Seth talked about that in deep conversations. Find an accountant. If you can find an accountant, do that from the beginning, because one, they will help you set up your business. Your business and your account. But for those little the ideas of taking 25% out each quarter, or what you can actually write off during in your business, you know what I mean? A lot of what those white people do.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You can learn that from an accountant. So find an accountant from the beginning, and if you can, find a black accountant.
There you go.
That was one thing that I struggled with, trying to find that in Beaver County, and I never could until I'd say 2 years ago. So if anybody wants a referral, I'll give you one. But yeah, try to find an accountant from the jump, from where you start.
Did y'all hear when he said he tried to do everything himself, and you heard the groans in the room? That means so many people did that. And when Miss Reese mentioned that it's so, like, we're scared of each other, that's the reason. I don't know if y'all noticed the name of this mini conference was Think Above the Line. That's why we created that. The concept, I was listening to a brain doctor called Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he said that we can't take in any new information that we don't emotionally understand. We can't take in any new information that we don't emotionally understand. And here's what he meant by that. If you grew up in a toxic environment and watched toxic relationships, there's a reason why when you run across that healthy man or that healthy woman, you're like, something about them, they're boring. Because what you emotionally understand is toxicness. So when you run into healthiness, your body goes into fight or flight mode and says something's wrong here. We got this big brother, this big sister, that's our system that is protecting us. And what is protecting us against is what's new information and what is unfamiliar. So working together is unfamiliar due to slavery and everything after that. Going after loans because of what happened in history with banks and black people. Like, there's a lot of things. We've been forced to do so much on our own. This is why we become jack of all tradesmen and we don't know the benefit of narrowing our focus onto one thing. The whole concept of I got to work 10 times harder than them just to get a piece of their, we do. But now we say yes to everything and try to fix every problem. And so now that you know your system is trying to block you from receiving new information, you can't unlearn that. And there are symptoms that let you know what's happening. It might be anxiety. That could be overwhelmed. You could feel like you could be sitting in front of a rich person who got some valuable information that your system can't receive, and you just feel overwhelmed. You can't even hear them. Your eyes, a lot of y'all might not even be able to hear me right now because your system's blocking this. It's saying, fight or flight mode. Go ahead, Nettie, because I know this is your alley.
Sorry.
We grew up in an alley, by the way.
You was rolling, but I'm asking more business again. All of y'all are business owners. What do y'all do, or what's your system when you know your value in your product, but people don't want to pay your worth?
Go somewhere else.
There's a client that'll pay for it. Point blank period.
Yes.
Go somewhere else.
Yes.
Yeah, literally, no. Like, no.
But
You might have to do without. Like, I'm going through a situation now with, like.
Do you feel it's better that way?
No, my bad. No, it's not. Like, when you want to be the best, like, and you research and you put that idea in your mind, so you obsess over it, right? And when when an entrepreneur, especially me, because I'm like you, like what you said back there, like I don't trust anybody. Nobody, especially like I deal with black people, money. Like I have zero. I just talked to Seth. I was dealing with a client today that that has a lot of money, and he had a stupid situation that happened. But like, I'm freaking out because you just know, like it's somebody's money, and I treat that like it's mine. Like, how would I feel if this happened on a Saturday and my Amex was giving me this message? I would be pissed off, So like, I feel that, and I guess project that on myself, and I try to give that service back to my clients. But you just have to just make sure that, and whatever you do, man, like if you want to be the best, you align yourself with the best. You research over it. You put God first at the head, and let the pieces fall. And don't ever let people convince you that you're not enough. Like I literally was just talking, like before I came here, I was talking to Carlos, and he was like, "What did you learn out of this whole project?" And it was like, I'm enough. Like what I built is enough. What I'm doing is enough. Like I don't have to be $1 billion, whatever like people think I should be. Like I'm good where I'm at. So
I think that was where I was going with my question. Do you think it's better that way, to kind of move on to the clients who will pay and to the people who do understand and believe your value?
It goes back to purpose, because like sometimes like people wealthy, I see a lot of wealthy people again that aren't happy, but like their wealth is like just waking up in the morning and being able to walk, or you see a lot of billionaires, they give away all their money. Like, you ever think about why they do that? Because they've had everything, and they see like it's like Ecclesiastes, like wealth is fleeting. Like once you get it, it's like, all right, I had it, and then you want another thing, and then you realize it's like it's no peace in that. Like, only peace comes from like doing this, like giving back, inspiring other people so they can go and inspire somebody else. Because once we die, like, we're not, like what Denzel said, we're not having a U-Haul in the back of the hearse, so it's gone.
Can you explain, before you move on, can you expand upon, because you're an artist.
Yes.
So you deal with this a lot.
Yes.
How do you handle that and then transition to the customers that can afford you?
One is actually putting myself out in the world, like not just the internet, but coming to things like this and meeting people face to face. But also understanding my own business. And I think being an artist has this unique thing where like you as a person is kind of really, really tied closely to the business part of you, right? So my personality, my willingness to talk to people, my willingness to network, all of those things play a huge part in the clients that I end up receiving. And like my reputation's on the line every day. And so being clear about my vision for my business and what my goals are and being able to explain that to someone, or being able to, you know, put a pitch deck together, which I learned at my corporate job, right? How to actually pitch myself, how to market myself. That's very helpful in aligning myself with clients. And people ask me all the time, like, well, how do they find you? And, you know, do you apply for things? Like most of my, probably 80% of my clients find me. I don't necessarily find them. And it's just because I have probably a cool Instagram, according to them. But like my reputation, just like word of mouth is still king. And having somewhere where people can see my work and read about me, which is my website, right? So they can actually understand who I am as a person, what I offer as a business. And then something very tactical that's helped me in doing murals is I have like a form for new projects that it's just a Google form that I made in like 5 minutes. But that link it's on my Instagram, it's on my website, it's wherever. And I'm able to say like, this is the time frame. Like you need to probably reach out to me 3 to 6 months in advance if you want something, or if you want a large project done, right? Or knowing you have a minimum, right? Like you get to a point where you're like, maybe I need X amount of dollars to even like come and do this project. Knowing those things and being able to tell people that sort of value in a very tangible way is an easy way to like weed people out or align yourself with the right audience.
And you brought up your niche and stuff and like finding your passion and then coming up with an idea. Where does the full identity come into play? And should you have that beforehand, or would that come along with the business as it grows?
I think the answer is both. I think you definitely should have an identity because you have to be clear to get the LLC and to, you know, differentiate yourself from other businesses. But that can evolve over time. And like companies every day rebrand, right? The biggest ones and the smallest ones. And it's okay to do that. I don't think we should be scared to do that. You know, I mentioned like pivoting earlier. Like I remember when I started my Instagram, I was like, oh, I don't know what to call it, because I didn't want it to be like just painting, right? What if I want to do other stuff? So I called it JY Originals instead. So it's like, it kind of is an umbrella for many different things that I can do that are all original. But just like small things like that, like thinking through how you can evolve and pivot over time. I think that we get really caught up in being overwhelmed by trying to do everything at once and trying to figure it all out at once. And I don't think it has to be that way. I think it can evolve.
So I want to answer the question from Takumba. Oh, you just had your hand up? So in terms of, there's money out there. And a lot of us as Black people, we tend to hit the ground running and bootstrap everything. How do we begin to position ourselves for funding?
Capital stacks.
capital stacks, private lending, because I will be honest, a lot of us think we're running businesses, but we've just created jobs for ourselves that require way more time, and that's real. And nobody really wants to invest in a job. Like, look at a lot of these baby boomer businesses that are dying. D&G went under because all it takes is one generation to just be like, pizza place up here. All these HVAC businesses, a lot of us are just hustling. Can we talk about how a business can position themselves for funding?
Do you want to start?
Yeah, because I just went through this. So I just recently went through this with a teammate of mine. And really, you got to think about it. I try to put stuff in like simplistic so like we can really understand it. But if you're going to somebody, a bank, think of a bank as like Seth. And you're asking Seth, hey, Seth, can you give me $50,000 so I can create Content House? And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do all this stuff. And the banks, and Seth's like, all right, like, let me see your business plan, but also let me see your credit score. Right? And if he sees your credit score and he sees that, hey, you didn't pay Capital One, you didn't pay Amex, what the heck do you think that I think you're going to pay me back? Right? That's what the bank's thinking. Right? So the first thing when you asking somebody for money or for capital, like you said it earlier, when you have small responsibilities, take care of those small responsibilities because God will then bless you with bigger. Right? And so you got to have your stuff in order. Another thing is accounting. Like that was something that I did because I'm cheap, right? I was like, I'm an advisor. I can do my own accounting. I don't need to pay nobody. Dude, it was the worst decision ever because I would wait till like April 13th. And then it's like, I don't know what I did last October on this transaction. And then now I got anxiety because I got clients that I'm trying to deal with that day. And I'm trying to remember what I did with, on this day 4 months ago. And then you end up just not doing it or you do it wrong. And as you know, if you do it wrong, you go to the bank and your number's wrong, they're going to look at you on Shark Tank now and be like, bye, no deal, So you got to, one, take care of your responsibilities. Make sure your credit score is decent, right? Even if it's not decent, like just work on it. Like if you can't owe people money, right? That's just the thing. Like if you credit cards, whatever, just pay them off, right? And that will show. And if you made a mistake, like because we all make mistakes. I made mistakes earlier in my life. Make it right. And then when you make it right, you'll learn through that. And then you can go ask the bank. And you could tell them that story. Hey, this is my credit score was a 500, but I did all this. Now it's a 700. I built this business, bootstrapped it. Now I'm looking and seeking money. They'll have some local banks too, right? You want to go to a local bank because they'll know you. They'll have a PNC or Chase. They don't care about us. They don't care about you, right? They don't care about me. And I'm doing okay, right? Go to a local bank. Go to a credit union. But have your stuff in order before you go and sit with a bank, right? Don't just think wishful thinking.
For those of you who are interested in trying to get funding, check out a book called The Billionaire Mindset. One of the things that I enjoyed about this book was how he broke down a lot of how businesses out there understand they're starting the business with in mind that they want to go after private lending. And one of the most important things that they have in place are systems. Systems replace the hustling, right? And what I mean by systems is you understand how this thing runs every single day. Like what team, like with the Content House, we got the project manager, we have the creative director, we have the film team. And I know before I go into some funding, I have to have this system in place that can clearly show them how much I'm profiting annually. It's not a hustle thing where I'm like, dang, the bills is $2,000 this month. There's that too, where I got to hustle. But it's like, okay, how do I get to the point where we're generating $10,000 to $15,000 a month consistently? There is a system for attracting $10,000 to $15,000 a month. Because in the book, a lot of these individuals are now, they're showing proof after 6 to 12 months of doing these things. And then they're going to private lenders and generating 5 years worth of that income in order to grow. You feel me? And so that's that above the line thinking where they're not thinking about hustle. They're only focusing on the things that they're the greatest at, and they're creating systems. It's great for us to be jack of all tradesmen, but you're not a jack of all tradesmen to work everything in your business. You're a jack of all tradesmen to be able to lead people.
Yes.
So, you know what you're the best at? Create systems for everything else. Even create systems for the things that you're the best at. So that you can begin to think down the road like, okay, what does this generate annually? So that I could take this to a private lender. Because I know traditional banks, it's hard with traditional banks. But private lenders, if they see, okay, and think about every job you've been at. There's been systems. There's meetings. There's this person who handles this. There's things you don't handle. Like, mirror the jobs that you've been at and try to figure out how to turn your organization, your business, and your art, especially artists. A lot of us artists just be creating. And we don't think the business, or we like, I need somebody to handle business side. No, you have to create systems. Okay? Yeah, that's another step.
One thing I'm going to add to this, because I said I wanted to touch on this, is some of the softer skills that also attract funders, or when you have them in your face, then you have a better chance, a better opportunity, is understanding professionalism. And I don't mean the whitewash version of it, because I think we get caught up in that too. I'm not talking about what your hair looks like when you walk into the meeting. I'm talking about being reliable, being on time, being respectable, being respectful, right? All of those things, right? Email etiquette, learning how to speak to people, capitalize your eyes, Lord, come on. Like, those things are important. Communication skills are important. And knowing what you're good at and what you're not good at can take you a long way as well, right? So if you know, like, I'm just not that, I don't come across that well, you know, on the screen, like on Zoom, that's not going to be a good meeting for me. Make it in person. Show them your personality. Show them how passionate you are. If you're saying, I'm really a better writer than I am speaking in front of people, write that stuff down. Send a nice packaged email or a really nice PDF that has your ideas, you know, categorized and labeled and easy to follow. Like, those things can take you a very long way. And I think the connotation of what professional is trips us up sometimes. And I'm not telling you to change who you are. I'm saying be exactly who you are, but give it to them in a package.
Can you dive into that a little bit more? Because you are an artist, and with taking on contracts,
yes,
there's this trust
yes.
factor that a lot of people don't understand. In order to get that contract, somebody has to feel like, I can trust you with this.
Yes.
What do you feel like are the keys for you to build that trust in that person to hand you over that 15 to 20, I'm not counting your pockets, but however much they pay you for a mural? I come off and I am very organized. That's just me as a person, because what's up here is crazy, y'all. Like, you don't want to see it. So I do have to be very organized, but it shows, and I'm intentional about how that looks in an email or in a pitch deck. So I might like bullet things out very clearly so it's easy to follow, or even like putting my branding behind things. Like, okay, every pitch deck I have is going to be in my JY Originals colors, just like the same font, or like what, just consistency in the branding side. Or also coming up with a list of questions that I can answer before they need to ask me. And you can use ChatGPT to do that, right? Like, what are the top questions that they might ask me in an interview? I'm going to have the answer, or I'm going to be prepared to ask them questions to get the information that I need to better serve them. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So you're kind of like being proactive with a lot of those things. And I think, again, just the being reliable is super important. And sometimes, like, for artists, especially in public art, they'll ask you for the budget of the past projects you did. Like, yeah, your work samples look great, but how much did they pay you to do that? They want to know you can handle the money. So if I say, yeah, I had this project that was $75,000 and I had to be the one to order the equipment, I had to pay my subcontractors, I had to do this, that, and the third, like, now they know I'm responsible, right? And then they'll be willing to give me $100,000. You see what I'm saying? So being able to come up with a budget and say, this is how I foresee this playing out,
There's like small things like, I don't know if a lot of people do this, but when I do budgets, I have a line for a contingency. That's if anything goes wrong, I got a couple grand. That's just for that. I crash a lift. You know what I'm saying? Like if I got to pay for that, of course you have insurance, so you should be doing that anyway. But you know, I have a paint spill. Now we got to redo the paving on the sidewalk or whatever. It's already taken care of. I don't have to stress about some of those things, but that's an example of like proactive thinking. And they understand like, okay, this person's responsible. Okay, this person's organized. That's going to spill over into the product that we are actually paying them to do.
That's showing them the line you're at. They want to see what line. Everybody can see your line. Well, the people who can think above the line can see what line you're at. We all can see. You got that friend where you're like, yo, if they stop making these decisions, their life will be as damaged.
You see?
You got somebody in your life that says the same thing about you.
Yeah.
And each person has that line. That funder is looking. They're like, okay, you're here. You're at the same line that I'm at.